So I've always been a writer, but I started writing more for like slam and doing slam poetry in college when I was in the Cup C team. Yeah, it's really wild. It's existed for so long in a Google Doc in so many different forms, and it's been like a thing I've been afraid of for a long time. And now it's very real and very yellow and very in people's hands. I wrote it a lot at this coffee shop called Ula Cafe in Jamaica Plain, and a library. Yeah, I really like coffee shops. Yeah. It's been about like a year and a half, I think. I brought a manuscript to Vona, which is a workshop just for writers of color. And I applied to the program, and I, workshopped it there for a week. And it was all like, lovingly, picked apart with hands of color, which was really helpful because my book is so like specific to my culture and it's pretty strange. And I think maybe if it were like under another like specific like set of eyes, it wouldn't be what it is right now. So it let it be as like weird and brown and hairy as it needed to be. There was that, but then there was still like, a whole like months and months of edits and adding new poems. And I think I added a new poem like 2 months before I had to have all of my, have to have it done. So that was really hard. It was going to be called like 10 different things. It was going to be called Mami, Mustaches, and Malcriadas. But that was like a mouthful, and I didn't know how to make that like fit on the cover. I don't know. PELUDA has just been like such a constant like word in my life. As a hairy Latina girl, it just means like hairy girl or furry beast. And it is like a, it can be like a cool thing to say. It can also be like a term of endearment from like a family member. Yeah, and it just encompassed everything. It just made the most sense. It depends. Sometimes I have those nights where I'm like, whoa, it's like midnight and I'm in my fertile sadness and I can like pop out a poem and it feels like so done. But there are poems that like I've been working on forever that still don't feel finished. I work on poems like 5 at a time sometimes. Yeah. Basically whenever I want to stop looking, when I can't look at it anymore, that's when it feels done. Boys. And Twitter. Yeah. My favorite poem in the book is either My Hair Stays on Your Pillow Like a Question Mark or At the Galentine's Day Party. I would say Self-Portrait with Historical Moments because it's really personal and it took like 10 different forms and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to say because I'm saying like a lot about like history and intergenerational like trauma and stuff. And I think I'm like afraid of my family seeing that. I'm afraid of them seeing a lot of these poems because they're, I don't know, I'm kind of like airing out my business. My mom's always like, I say this in one of my poems, but like, when you're gonna stop telling your business, our business in front of people. Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing was kind of hard to birth, but also really easy because I had been thinking about a lot of it for all of my life. So, yeah. I want anyone to be able to pick up my book and be like, find something in themselves in it. I also want like a young, like Latina, like a teenage hairy Latina to read my book. I just met Sandra Cisneros for the first time, and she's like one of my heroes, like my hero, my one hero. And at the event there were just a bunch of other like Latinas with bangs and septum piercings and tattoos, and it was like seeing a bunch of myself everywhere. It was weird, but it was also really cool. I want little versions of me to be reading this, or I want someone to read this and then be inspired to be like, hey, I see something in myself in this, but it's not quite my story, so I want to tell exactly my story. I've always written, I've also always liked tension and performing, and when I discovered like performance poetry, I was like, wow, cool, like best of all worlds. Like, yeah. I like being a performer. I like telling stories. I like getting to people in that way. I also have very much always been a writer, and like first and foremost will be forever the little girl who has to stay at home and write in her journal. Yeah, okay, so I had a really strict Latina mom who never let me out of the house, so I just spent a lot of time like writing inside of the house, and kind of disciplining myself that way. And I was really like afraid of forgetting things, so I would write everything down, and then I kind of like did that like neurotically, I guess. I think my mom really like has affected my writing. I think the songs I listened to in my most formative years really affected my writing. I'm just like a product of my environment and the things that have like broken my heart or put them back together again, I guess. Ooh, okay. Probably Brief Wonders Live Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz, A Woman Hollering Creek by Sandra Cisneros, Mercury by Ariana Reigns. Let's see. No One Belongs Here More Than You by Miranda July. David Sedaris, honestly, a lot. So I love any stories about like sad, spectral women. Samantha Hunt writes beautiful stories. Kelly Link, they all write like ghost stories that are also like love stories, but also about like femininity and like loss. I love that shit. I'm reading The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. They're like horror stories from the 70s. I have like I've developed like internet humor, so I like think in memes, I guess, and I laugh like that. Also, everything makes me cry. I don't know. Okay, chocolate chip cookies, my favorite food forever. I know every chocolate chip cookie, every good chocolate chip cookie in the city of Cambridge, Massachusetts. I just moved to New York, and I'm going to do the same there. Maybe just start with one borough first, like all the best chocolate chip cookies in Brooklyn. I also love empanadas and tortillas and guacamole forever. My favorite movie is Me and You and Everyone We Know, written and directed by Miranda July. It's about loneliness, and it's really weird. And my favorite TV show, I really love that sad horse show, BoJack Horseman. I really like songs that seem like they're written by like sad ghost girls, but over like a fun beat. So Lord, I guess. But also I listened to Mitski a lot while I was writing this, and like Angel Olsen, Xenia Rubino's Pale Hound. I mean, I write like some fiction. I want to explore more of that. My friend Tiffany and I want to like put together a graphic novel. She illustrated the cover. One day, I still have a dream about being like in a rock band. I think everything is a poem, but I think, you know, like intentional, I don't know, I'm in an MFA program right now, so that's kind of like all we talk about, like what makes a poem a poem. But I think if something, you know, is like intentionally lyrical and, you know, conveys some sort of like truth or beauty in only so many chosen words, I think that's a poem. I also think, you know, the little girl in Central Park holding balloons is a poem. You know, I'm lucky to be in a moment with so many talented people who like notice how messed up and beautiful the world is and are able to like capture it and put it on paper and speak it out loud. So yeah, my friends. I want people to like, I don't know, change their notions about beauty and feminism and what beauty standards can look like among like a bunch of different people and bodies, and how that changes based on, you know, how you grew up and where you grew up, and what your parents were like and what your home was like and your school was like. I don't know, I want people to feel like a sisterhood out of this and a camaraderie out of this. I want people to feel like a little uncomfortable and embarrassed, maybe, because I'm uncomfortable and embarrassed all the time.